One day I'm gonna have to have a long talk with that boy. He scheduled this show and forgot to put it on my own YouTube channel. I don't even know if it's recording there yet. It would be nice. We'll see. Nope, streamed one day ago, so I'll have to download it and re-upload it. What a pain. What an absolute pain. Now I sound like Dr. Smith. Anyway, Joe Bachman's here to cheer me up.
So you can go up in the top right and hit edit and add your channel in.
I did.
Oh,
It's just not coming through on the iPad.
give me a
So,
second. I will take a look see here. Yep, you're live on your channel now.
oh, okay, good enough. It was, there doesn't really need all the opening credits. It's just I like to be able to keep in with the comments and not have it come from all over. So
Hmm.
let me just switch that. I can do them here on this screen, which negates the need for the iPad to be burning batteries. So switch that on to charge. 66%. Ooh, that was a little. Um, anyway, here we are.
Oh, oh! I
Well,
need to check this candle.
Stupid Clock was interesting.
Hmm.
Uh, a lot of MapQuest going on, but it was better than doing the Home Shopping Network like we did Thursday.
Finally got, finally got one that smells like mint for Aunt Donna.
Oh, how strong did you have to make it in order to make it work?
Added about one. Let's see. Oh, what's this say here? About 1 milliliter.
Oh,
Well, this is a different uh, oil than the first one, so I think it's a little stronger and newer.
yeah. If the first one is not absolutely fresh, something as delicate as mint might not age very well. And then again, it might just be a different concentration in the bottle.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that bottle's wasted. Just means you got to use it up in a hurry. Oh, well, I'm sure Aunt Donna will be very pleased if it works to keep the cats off the table while they eat. Maybe she just likes the smell of mint anyway. Um, and she's not going to be with us tonight. She's sleeping, so.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I know she's very sensitive to fragrances.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what it was in that department store that we went into. Somebody had been at the perfume aisle and just sprayed a bunch of all the samples around. And
Hmm.
evidently, I walked through a cloud of it and almost went into anaphylactic shock.
Oh.
Yeah, Lindsay had to lead me out of the store. I mean, not only was I almost ready to quit breathing, I couldn't see. And after about 10, 15 minutes in the parking lot, I was fine. I could taste the stuff in the back of my throat for days.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know. It really made that afternoon's uh, lunch and dinner not quite as appetizing as they should have been for what we had. But yeah, um, I rarely go to that store anymore. Not that I blame them for somebody walking around being a goofball in their perfume oil, but if the stuff is that dangerous, I kind of need to look out. Um, I do not want that mentioned in my obituary. Walked into a cloud of perfume, dropped dead. Oh, that'd make the Athens Banner Herald and the University of Georgia Red and Black newspapers going, heck, old guy drops dead in the store. Nobody can figure out why. Uh, and considering all the chemicals I have been exposed to in my lifetime, to be done in by a bottle of perfume is kind of undignified. If 111 trichloroethane ain't doing it, nothing should be able to. Oh, Lord.
Oh, that felt good.
Oh, I know. Every time I can get my vertebrae to pop, it eases the pain everywhere a whole lot, which is why I really would like to go to chiropractor. Unfortunately, the guy that Lindsay's going to is going to retire soon, so we're
Oh,
yeah, well, um, she will be shifted to one of the neighboring doctors in the same complex, as probably will the office staff as well. And the ones that want to stick around, the young ones that want to stick around, the older ones might go ahead and just start retirement. Who knows? But he's been at it for a while, so I've actually met a couple of the other chiropractors in the parking lot while I was waiting on her, and they seem to be quite nice people. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I really do need some adjustments done. Um, I don't see any need for surgery, and the um, X-ray techs that they use, even though you have to drive across town to get to them, they're affordable.
mm-hmm.
They take cash, and they don't charge that much. So I mean, it's only around your neck. I mean, I probably paid more for X-rays at a dentist, but on that cheerful note, what shall we? Whose personality should we assassinate tonight with frothy comments?
That's a good question. Uh, uh,
I really don't have anybody that I'm mad at except Joe Dog. Uh,
that's different from any other night. How?
well, that's just it. Joe Dog is Joe Dog. If he thought that I was mad at him, it'd just make his day. He lives for that. Oh dear. Uh, no, I don't remember when or what the last over-the-counter painkiller I took. So rather than OD on drugstore pills, Granny's rheumatism medicine to the rescue once again. Oh, that reminds me, I've got a ginger ale I need to mix with some bourbon here sometime, but that would mean walking away and going to the kitchen for a few minutes, which is bound to take me longer than just down the hallway and to the right. Lift, lift from this direction. Uh,
Oh, I really don't have much interesting going on right now. It's kind of quiet in my world for once, and I'm rather enjoying that.
As you should. It's nice to have some quiet time. There's things I could be doing out in the yard. Tomorrow's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be almost 80 degrees. I should go pick up all the firewood that I cut. When was it? Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Monday? Can't remember which. Basically, I just cut it in 3 to 4 foot lengths, and I'm just going to throw it in the bed of the truck, back into the driveway, carry it down to where I've got nice little Y-shaped branch nailed to a railroad tie so that I can have one end of whatever it is I'm cutting elevated and go through it with a chainsaw and make it small enough to fit in the little cast iron stove. It doesn't have a door. I have to feed it through one of the stove eyes. Didn't realize when I ordered the stove that it didn't have a door except for the one where you empty the tray full of ashes. Not a huge inconvenience. It just makes it a little harder to keep the fire built up to the right level when you're doing something long term.
Mm-hmm.
But since it's not a smoker, I really shouldn't have to worry about that. Just need to have a. Think I'm going to get a little like a not like a barbecue grill and cut it down, but it's either a cooling rack
Mm-hmm.
that's all wire instead of being solid piece, and cut it so it fits under one half of the stove. And if I need some really high heat, I can put some coals on that. And then anything low heat, put it to the other side. With the size of the stove, there's really not that big of a worktop to have a cool side and a really hot side. It's all going to be just about the same temperature all over. What I did notice when I built the first fire is that the two back pan lids,
Mm-hmm.
they are much warmer than the two front ones. So I might just have to do front to back, hot to somewhat hot. And then I can always use the the horseshoe trivet that I got from Cowboy Kent. I've got 3 lengths of legs to go on it if I need something to be passably warm, yet not full temperature. I can put the short legs on there and raise it up above the stove top and take the stove lid, the griddle lid underneath it out so the heat will come right up through there. But the reason the back ones are hotter than the front ones is because that's where the flue is and the stovepipe. So all the heat goes through that. So naturally, the back burners are hotter than the front marginally.
Yeah, I was a little worried at first when I made this candle tonight, so it wasn't. Most of them, within a few minutes, it starts to cool and solidify, and it wasn't seeming to solidify. And I ran upstairs to go down the hall and came back down and it started to solidify. I'm like, oh, thank God. Because I used a liquid dye instead of a wax,
Mm-hmm.
the wax cube like I did on Wednesday night. I'm
Hang
like,
on. Can you monologue for a minute? There was just noise in the other end of the house.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, I ended up adding a bunch of color dye into it, and when I came back down, it had started to solidify because the little bit I added at first didn't give me the green I wanted, and now it's got a nice green color. But so to monologue for a few minutes. One of the things I am probably the worst at with if anybody's ever seen when I cover for Nick Tockard on Nevermind the Furthermore, because he can monologue for half an hour easy, and me, I get about 15 minutes in and run out of stuff to say. But I guess I will use this time to plug indiecd.org. You can find all of Dan's links for his books and his music, including his new book, A Disposable Man, on his page. You can find him under the authors category, musicians category, and streamers categories. Let's see, what else is there? I am working on putting up a store for indiecd.org for people to be able to sell their wares. And it'd be for members of IndieCD to post their stuff to be able to sell. We do have 2 new members that are both streamers over on Kick. One is OMG TV to you. His name is Ricky, or he goes by Ricky. And he does a lot of DJing. And welcome back.
Yes, sorry about that, but we have a metal baby gate leaned up against the love seat to keep the dog from going up there and shredding the cushions and whatnot. And evidently, while my wife was in bed, sound asleep, with the dog next to her, one of the cats managed to knock the thing over onto the coffee table covered with glass knickknacks. Nothing got broken,
That's
which
good.
is a miracle. But you know, Lindsay was very happy that I heard the noise and I came running.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow or another, she jumped out of bed and beat me to the living room as quick as that.
I would say you hopped up pretty quick too, so
I think she can teleport. She just doesn't want me to know. Phew.
it's a trade secret you'll never find out about.
Hey, it's one of those woman things. They can be several places at once, um, especially when her priceless antique glassware is involved. Oh, we had stuff on the coffee table. We had to put someplace else when we got the dog because the other dogs we had were a little bitty. This one stands about waist high, and I'm 5'11". You can figure out how my waist is.
Right.
She's clumsy, and she likes to chase the cats. Thankfully, she was not the cause of this. She was in bed, sound asleep. Unfortunately, so was my wife. I hope she can get right back to sleep real quick. Anyway, it was one of the cats. Somehow or another managed to knock this thing over. I guess tried to jump through it. and it's a baby gate. You're not supposed to be able to jump through it, even if you're a cat.
Yeah, not supposed to, and actually doing are still two
Well,
totally different things.
was not able to, but certainly still attempted to defeat. Oh, I don't know why. There's nothing blocking them from either arm of the love seat, and that's how they just jump up there from the floor and lay down on one of the fancy pillows that has to be cleaned regularly. I'm glad I got the vacuum cleaner with a little attachment to where you can actually get pet hair off of furniture. Oh, we had a hard time finding a vacuum cleaner that could stand up to pet hair.
Mm.
We killed several vacuum cleaners trying to vacuum up pet hair because one of the cats is a very long hair.
Good evening, Nick.
Oh, hey Nick, sorry, uh, can't see the comments here. Uh, there we go. Watching from the road. Don't comment too often. You
I
drive
imagine
safely,
Amanda's
Nick.
probably driving.
Oh, okay, yeah. Never even thought about that. Um, Not about being sexist or anything, but generally when I'm driving, I'm by myself unless I'm taking Lindsay somewhere. So I just naturally assume that everyone is alone in their car.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You asked me a monologue for a little bit. I'm sitting there going, man, if anybody's caught, never mind the furthermore, when I filled in for Nick, they know that I can only monologue for about 5 minutes.
thankfully, that's about all it took. Just go, nobody did? Anybody going to be? Right, got to get back to the show. Um, I did point out, I heard the noise. I came running. She said, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, I don't know why I knew it was in the living room. It sounded like a damn tree fell on the house. I guess it was the glass rattling, and my subconscious put it all together and go, only one place that can happen. Um, well, in our house, no, that's not the only place that can happen. Something could have fell on the kitchen table. And see, Lindsay does all these decorations to everything, and she's just been redoing stuff for first day of spring, which means she's got to change the Green Man medallion, and she's got to make sure all the Christmas stuff is put away, even though the box has been sitting there since December, all packed up and ready to go back in the closet. Have to make room in the closet somehow, and there's she's got flower arrangements and stuff that she does, and um got a lazy Susan in the middle of uh, the dining room table that we have um, the salt and pepper grinder and um, the maple syrup bottle and um, lots of fancy stuff, and she's got um, some of her fancy teacups out there on display and whatnot. She posted a photograph the other day where she did a spring arrangement and excuse me, and redid the flower arrangement from Christmas stuff to spring stuff, and boy, if anything had happened to that, you'd still be monologuing.
I'd be messaging Joe Dog going, "Hey, I'm 3 hours in here and Dan ain't back." Actually, it'd be more like I'd be messaging the group chat going, "Any admin still awake? Please come to LMS."
Don't even have to be admins. Well, yeah, because you couldn't be able to add them, would you? No,
Nope.
Amanda's driving since we got the seatbelts fixed for her real first run in the rig. All right. No, I actually took the pickup truck for the first run to the recycle center in the landfill today. Been using the van for that, but the van has become a tool shed. So, oh yeah, so many deer out tonight. Yes, I don't doubt it. Hope your headlights are really bright. Well, I had a bad scare the other day. Had a rabbit run out in front of the truck and just sit there in the middle of the road. And I saw it in time. I just stopped. Almost got out and shooed the thing out of the road, but it took off into the woods like a scared rabbit. And we were out in the yard the day I was cutting up that firewood, and went around the back of one of the cedar trees, looking to see whether or not there was another volunteer heavenly bamboo plant. And I took a couple of steps towards the tree that I thought it was under, and boom, rabbit ran off into the neighbor's yard. I'd almost stepped on the poor thing. Scared me more than I scared him.
Well, we've had a beaver that's been plaguing the park, and the little bugger. I'm gonna try and say this as nicely as possible since Nick is watching. I know Xander's in the vehicle. But I've had to go out 3 times now because he's chewed on these little trees that are around the edge of the water at the park. And all 3 have fallen onto the cable lines. Luckily, didn't fall into the road, but fell onto the cable lines. Which, again, luckily, they were just cable lines. The NIPSCO power lines are on the other side of the street. So I was able to go out and get them down myself. I have told our local police department that if they see the beaver in our park, feel free to shoot it, turn it into a hat if they so wish. Let me know when the deed is done, and I will go erase any video evidence off our security cameras. In case anybody asks.
The only other way is to live trap it and ship it off to a different state before opening the door.
And I thought he finally moved on. I thought. Because there hadn't been any new chew in a while. And I'd seen him over by one of the other parks in town, which has a nice wooded area behind it. And my general thought was, feel free to chew on anything over there. That's not my headache or problem if anything falls. And then as we were driving home the other day, my wife and I noticed on one of the big trees, there's some fresh beaver chew. If that thing falls, I don't have it in my budget to get it out of the water and disposed of.
Like I said, Take off and nuke the site from orbit. That's the only way to be sure.
So yeah, I've put the hit out on this thing on Facebook. You know, I've even offered its services to the local residents. If anybody needs a tree taken down, you know, contact that beaver and have him come by.
He works cheap.
Works real cheap. So it's getting to the point I'm going to have to look into removal services.
Yeah. Well, get some lion scat from a zoo and put it out there.
Yeah, it's not a half bad idea to try, because I wonder if that would take care of the goose problem also.
Are they Canadian geese?
They are, but they're actually very nice.
They're not Canadian then.
Well, no, I think these are I don't think these geese have actually traveled to Canada. Therefore, they don't get all the anger that the Canadian people pour into the other geese. But I've seen little kids chase them around, and they just run from the kids. They don't attack them. Now they are ballsy, because if Mama, Daddy, and the goslings are crossing the road, Mama will cross, the babies will follow, and there's Daddy sitting right in the middle of the road, wings spread, stopping traffic.
Signaling.
And they don't move any quicker, whether you sit and honk at them or, just sit there in silence. But it was nice to see that one of last year's goslings survived. He has a club foot.
Oh,
his whole foot is just bent like this.
That's not good, but
he
at least
around.
He survived.
He gets around just fine. He can kind of run. It's kind of a run with a limp. But he was also one of the ones that, after being first born, all the other ones are walking around. They'd walk, stop, eat a little bit, keep walking. He'd walk, stop, lay down in the grass, eat everything around him, get up, walk a little bit. I'm like, oh, it's my spirit animal.
Oh.
Yeah, I walk a little bit, lay down on the grass, eat, and...
Oh, Nick, that lion scat. Yeah, I read a short humorous story once, probably from Reader's Digest, one of the humor pages, where somebody had given this guy a bucket of elephant dung to use as fertilizer on his pole beans. Killed the beans, but the poles sprouted. That's big Africa energy right there. Yeah. It's weird how nature works. We haven't had too many of the Joro spiders this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I had to mow the yard with a long pole to knock the spider webs down so I could get the riding lawnmower through. It felt like I was in a Johnny Quest cartoon. But one good cold winter, and they decided they needed to go someplace else. So I'm not that I'm wishing ill on anybody in South Georgia, but little seven dust. Um, won't say never hurt anything, but might take care of your problem. Um, I got some to use, but never had to because they just kind of went away. I don't know if it was the weather or if some of the local species of birds decided they don't taste half bad and they don't know how to they don't know how to run away. But they've been cleared out pretty good. Um, gray sequoia whether it wanted to be or not. I almost bought a couple of sequoia redwood saplings to plant back at the back corners of my property. And then I realized if those things ever fell and took out somebody's house, I'd be in a world of lawsuits. Oh, I'm in enough trouble with the pine trees. Uh, so the pine trees and the sweet gum trees, they're basically almost as bad as kudzu. Uh, once they sprout, you can cut them down. They keep coming back. They just kind of spread out a little bit. Now, I absolutely love cedar trees because they take so long to get big enough to be a problem. I've planted several, and I probably will shuffle off this mortal coil generations before they become a problem for anybody. But they're real pretty.
Yeah, you're an Appalachian of the mountains. You got at least another 300 years on you.
Shh, I'm under contract. My contract expires with Swan. Uh, and if you're a Phantom of the Paradise fan, you got that joke. Oh dear. So many things. So many. Yep. I'm going to have to rearrange the order of things that I am writing. Might have to do a collection of other people's Marineverium stories um, sooner than I expected because I've got permission from some of the writers and they've rewritten some stuff.
Mhm.
And now they're in a hurry to see it come to fruition, which I understand completely.
Oh, so Trey and I go out for breakfast every weekend, as most people know from the photos I used to take on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we hit up this little cafe down in downtown Hobart today that we've been going to for Saturday breakfast. And as we came out, one of the local bookstores, which generally has like in their old location, they had a ton more shelving,
Mm-hmm.
but it was all used books for $1 a piece
Oh.
or 6 for 5. And then they had an area of like, local authors and stuff that was at regular price, stuff like that. But we saw a little sign propped up on the sidewalk today saying vendors market. And Nick, hopefully you're still listening because you're tied into the whole point of this story. Met a local author today. He had a couple books there that he had for sale. I showed him. We talked about NDCD. I showed him the site. and he recognized Nick Tockert. He goes, "Oh, I know Nick." And the guy looked familiar, and I think he's been to RegionCon, Arcticon in the past. But Nick, if you're still watching, Jeremy McShirley was the guy's name, and really nice guy. I also showed him Aphelion, and which he seemed very interested in going, because we were talking about some different things, and I said, "Oh, another good one to look at is Aphelion." They've got short stories, long fiction, poetry, a whole bunch of different things. I said it's been around for over 28 years. He goes, "It's been around for over 28 years." I said, "Yeah, this started back, when the internet started for most of the U.S. Dial-up was still the prevalent connection.
Yeah, really. I had to murder a robot to get online every day.
Mm-hmm. And just to keep in that, to keep with that motto, that's why I kept killing a robot before every behind the code. Sacrificial robot for the code. But so
Code
yeah,
won't work if you don't sacrifice a robot first.
right. But it's out. He started kind of paging through. I said, "Now," because then I told him, I said, "Well, there's an archive section too." I said, "If you click on archives over there," and he hits it, and I said, "Now that's got all 28 years of backstories." He goes, "Oh." And I told him
Yeah.
about the writers challenge too. I said, "If you click on writers challenge," and he loads up the page, I said, "Scroll down." I said, "You got 42 narrative hooks." He goes, "Why hadn't I known about this site sooner?"
Well, he does know we can't pay.
Well, and I told him, I said, it's all, I said, there's no pay for anything. I said, Dan makes it totally free for everybody. He doesn't even run ads on the site. Which your message form wasn't wanting to load earlier.
It's outdated.
Oh, okay.
And it won't load from NDCD in the first place, but it's always breaking down now. And the fellow in charge of that lives in Seattle, and he is a devotee of the
PHPBB.
writers of Hitchhiker's Guide. He loves the whizzing noise that deadlines make as they go fly past his head.
Oh, but so yeah, I talked to him in depth, but I told that story to tell one of his books that I bought. He's built an entire world for it, and
That's fun.
by entire world, I mean there's a website you can go to that expands on it even further. And he created a little social network to where you can interact with the characters, and a little search engine that ties in with his world. And he's telling me all this, and the first words out of my mouth were, "If any of my author friends ever comes up with having a similar idea, no, I will not be trying to do that website and search engine and everything else.
No,
I
no.
have neither the time nor the sanity."
I had enough trouble creating the solar system and all the planets of where the Spaceport Bar stories happen. And I certainly could not respond as individual characters. There's just too damn many. Um,
Yeah. Great concept, and I applaud the guy for doing it. But it's like that. I'm almost afraid to mention that to a few authors, because I know a couple of them be like, "So Joe, how much would it be for me to get something set up like that?"
More than you will ever make in your life.
And Nick, I love you like a brother. You are family. But even I would give you the F off price on that one.
No, seriously, that is a full-time job on its own.
Yeah.
When would you have time to actually write something? Nope. Now I've got to finish the fantasy book. Um, it's almost at the end already. Um, I learned my lesson. I will not try and get my characters to stick to a formula ever again, because they stopped talking to me for years at a time. I'm very annoyed at that, and they're very annoyed at me. They've started whispering things in my ear, so I can get that done, and then after that, I can either re-edit the already completed steampunk story or uh, go in and write the one of the middle chapters. It was supposed to be 4 different books, with the one that's completed being book 4, but book 3, I know where it's gotta go, I know what it's gotta do, I know where it's gotta end, um, I know everything about it except the dialogue, and I've got part of it already written. But, that would be an interesting thing to get that and get it out there in front of people. I know steampunk is kind of almost passé now, but that's alright. I I wrote it during the first blaze of its popularity. I wasn't trying to make money off of it. It's just it's a style I'm very comfortable working within.
Mm.
It's it's almost like writing post-apocalyptic, but it's also very much like writing alternate universe. Both of which I excel at doing, and it's world building, which I also excel at doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun part of being a writer, is to create the world that you're going to tell stories in. Um,
I so uh one I've been on the kick of buying stuff for this candle making,
mhm.
and I found there's a company called P&J Trading, and they sell a gentleman's collection for uh scents that you can add to candles.
Ah,
So I saw it and I'm like, well, that could be interesting depending on how strong it is. They have tobacco, teak wood, sandalwood, leather, bay rum, and cedar.
color me intrigued.
You're right. That one of these next candles I make is going to be for myself with one of these scents, because I want to see what it smells like.
Well, whichever one you choose, it will be excellent. I would be very, very hard put to um, make a choice among those. I think probably, given my fondness for how cedar smells, especially since it has a great utility in making furniture
Hmm.
that will keep moths away for centuries and add an extra deodorizer for clothes that have been packed away for winter or spring or whatever season until the next time you need them.
Mm-hmm.
and how beautiful it is, and just how heavenly it smells. Um, that's why I keep planting so many of the bloody things. I've got cedar trees that I brought back from family property in East Tennessee and planted in my yard, scattered about. Now, some of them have been more successful than others because light conditions and being crowded out by um, sweet gum trees and not giving them enough light. There's oh, hey Thesis, how you doing?
Hey, Thesis.
Um, it's just there's something about, well, I know exactly what it is. I grew up with handmade cedar chests that look like something you'd have to spend a couple of $1,000 to buy at a store or to buy online because they were made by craftsmen. They weren't made by a shop.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody actually had to go out, cut down the trees, fit the pieces together, and then put 10,000 layers of some kind of really old fashioned varnish on it, and then let it dry for 500 years. Um, and you open it up, and it's like you just stepped inside a cedar tree,
Mm-hmm.
and you're looking around for the naiad or dryad or whichever species of elvenkind lives inside trees. Um, Nick would know. Um, Good God, that would be perfect. That would be perfect. Let me know if you let me know if those scents work out for you, and I will commission a candle, if not several.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to. I'm trying to uh, make up enough candles because we got a rummage and craft market coming up at the park in May. Um, so I'm gonna try and get enough stuff made up to sell at the wife's table for that.
I told you, and it came in the mail today, Nick. Um, yeah. Um, my friends are like the Encyclopedia Galactica, basically.
Well, I mean, when one of them already is alleged cryptid, as he keeps saying.
Um, Will, and he keeps saying,
Mm.
I'm an alleged old god of Appalachia. And Lindsay wonders why the storms go around our house. I'm going, that's because I trained my kids very well. Uh, starting with a willow branch, moved up to a peach branch, and once they got the idea, don't mess with daddy. Um, oh, Nick, you should see that thing. Thesis' new musical instrument. I cannot
Yeah.
pronounce the name. It is absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't play it for the life of me. Um, it'd be like me going out and buying a hammer dulcimer? No. Like I have enough time to learn a brand new instrument? No. Um, I had a girlfriend back in college, and she was very much into it's her. She had two personas in the SCA. One was uh, Middle European, and another one was Asian. And I bought her a koto. I'm not sure if you're supposed to hard stress that T or not, but it was just a little bitty thing. And I started messing around with it one day, and I go, boy, the Allman Brothers could have used one of these. Yeah, it's a very multi-stringed instrument with movable bridges, so you can retune it for different things just by moving the bridge, and you can
I,
deaden the strings on one side and pluck them on the other, or whatever.
I'm
Um,
going to ask Thesis a question here, real quick, because I know at the end of his stream he had not eaten dinner yet, and I know he was excited to get that in. But sir, have you actually eaten something this evening? And I can still say this evening because he's even an hour behind me.
mhm. He's on what, Mountain Time,
Yep.
and you're on Central.
At Central Time, the time zone that the entire state should be in.
Well, evidently I'm living on Tulsa time. Um, why do I keep bringing pop culture references into every conversation I have?
Are you channeling your inner Ryan this evening?
No, I'm not trying to make it obnoxious. Um, if I was trying to make it obnoxious, it wouldn't be Ryan. It'd be someone else who's having a hard time right now. So I'm not going to name drop and um, ate some steak fried rice right after I finished the stream. Foxy made me put it back in the soft case while I ate. Yeah, it's
Good girl.
hey, you can't eat and play at the same time unless it's a burrito or
Or a
a,
taco.
a taco that doesn't drip.
Not the group. This isn't the green room. It's not the green
No, I've never eaten a taco that didn't drip. Believe me.
room.
If it did, if it didn't, I wasn't doing it right. Ah,
Not the green room. Not the green room. Not the green room.
mm, yeah, Nick. Yep. Unfortunately, no. Fortunately, all my exes live in urns. That's why I'm safe to go to the grocery store and not ever run into them and have to have the police involved. However, if I do go to a grocery store and they are there, I definitely want the police involved and maybe an exorcist. Um, uh, nope, nope. Now there's to be honest, there's only one of my exes I actually thought deserved the rest of her life. The other one, um, party girl, overdid her life until her death. That's exactly what happened. The other one, I can't say anything bad about because her kids are my kids, and I'm helping with their grandchildren, and they remember things differently than I do. And I've got to take a step back, decompress, and remember that I am, reluctantly, a gentleman. Oh, and Nick's net is breaking up, so getting close to home to unload. Have a great night. We're going to do our best.
Have a good night, Nick. Oh, I did get a good tip from my wife on where to get jars for doing the candles. I never would have thought about going to this place. Goodwill.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I walked out with 3 bags worth of various glass pieces for about $21.
Goodwill is one of those places where you can walk in and go, I'm just going to look around. And you walk out with an Ormolu clock worth $10,000 that still works,
Mm-hmm.
a wicker basket full of picnic gear that's never been used, and a dozen antiques, and they have books, and whatever the hell else somebody actually needed to get rid of that week, including a full suite of desk and office chair and matching occasional piece, which is, as George Carlin noted, that's quite a nice thing to have in the office occasionally, is an occasional piece. Um, that's as close to the green room as I want to get tonight. Ah. And yes, Thesis, I did read that comment, but save it for Friday, dude. I know it's a long way off. I pray for Friday nights anymore. Well, I pray to wake up in time for Friday nights anymore. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, everything still hurts, but I don't give a fuck anymore. That's the beauty of Grandma's rheumatism medicine. It still hurts. You know it still hurts, but somehow you just don't care.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Next best thing to Thorazine, which I've never been administered, I hope. If I have, I didn't notice. And somebody probably got real worried because I didn't notice.
I really should bring a smaller thing down to drink out of, but then I'd have to make more trips up the stairs.
Why make your life harder?
Exactly.
That's why I have the little beer fridge over here. Give me 3 steps and I got another beer. Lindsay goes, why do you keep so many liquor bottles on the bookshelf next to your desk? I go, keeps me from interrupting your TV programs, dear.
Mm-hmm.
And she's amazed that I had a bottle of port down here that lasted almost 6 months.
Hmm.
Because I would only pour a glass of it every time I felt like having some of the sharp uh, Irish cheddar cheese.
Ah.
Because I mean, port goes so well with that sharp cheddar. And it's back here. I know it's back here. I don't. It tastes fine on its
Mm-hmm.
own without anything else. It also goes well with any kind of sandwich that you make on, excuse me, on pumpernickel bread. I'm real fond of roast beef and cheese and whatnot on pumpernickel, and I try and buy the smallest loaves I can buy because I'll eat one and it'll be like a month's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I don't need to feed that addiction for a long time. And then I realized, ooh, it's going to start turning green. As if mold would dare to grow on it. I'm firmly convinced mold is really frightened of pumpernickel. No. Uh, all right, I'm going to play a couple of commercials here.
Okay.
12:39. We've been going for what, hour and 9. I'm going
Yep.
to play a couple of commercials here. I am going to go to the kitchen and get a different beverage, and we shall see what we shall see. Um, Perfect time for you to up the stairs and down the hall if you need to do so. And we'll see what is the longest one. Okay. I'll just play the 3-minute intermission because I want to throw the ads in at the end when
Mm-hmm.
everybody's through with everything. So we'll just do it. And I'm sorry, the intermission involves running water. Fair
I'm good.
warning.
And we are back, folks, or at least I am back. Dan will most likely be back here shortly, as I'm not sure where he ran off to, but you get me for now. And what better person to have? But, so I get to test out my monologuing skills again. Yeah, my monologue skills still, you know, still aren't, the greatest, but I will endeavor to do the best I can. Um, let's see, what else can I monologue about here? Um, yeah, I really got nothing. I can't think of anything, which isn't good. Not good at all. Um, come on, Dan, I need some help here. Because I can't play another intermission. I don't have ops here. So let's see. Yeah, monologuing is great. I am so proficient. Ah, there he is. There's
Evidently,
my savior.
evidently, I took a little bit longer than 3 minutes. But I was going to put some of Christine Davies' homemade Angostura bitters in the bourbon and put it with some ginger ale, but I couldn't get the lid off the bottle, and I finally decided, well, it's Jesse James bourbon. Maybe he probably hadn't heard of Angostura bitters, so it might not go that way. This is an excellent sipping bourbon, by the way. Um, it's it's as good as Statesman, but it doesn't knock you on your ass after one glass. It takes several. Um, let me go back to the comments
I'm
here.
I'm still looking forward to the next Hallowcon.
Bring a warm coat.
Oh yeah, definitely gonna need that.
Joe said the best. Joe Dog said the best thing to do is to bring clothes for all 4 seasons because we're probably going to go through at least 3 of them during the convention.
That ain't no lie.
What's in my right nostril? Probably pollen. Thank you for pointing it out. Oh, how we doing? Well, it's springtime, and my white truck is now yellow, and my wife's red car is orange. So we need to schedule a day to spend at the car wash to get everything cleaned up. Uh, Other than that, and yeah, the pollen is really bad. I have been runny nose and sneezing, which, coming off of having the flu or several different flus back to back to back to back since middle of November is not a lot of fun, but life is what life is. Uh, um, Yeah, monologuing is one of the things that anybody that runs a show has to wind up practicing sometimes. Uh, Even if it is a multi-person show,
Mm-hmm.
occasionally everybody leaves and you're sitting there, even if you're not the host, you're sitting there. And thank you very much for covering for me so many times tonight, Joe. Uh,
Not a problem. Always happy to lend a hand. May not be the best hand, but I lend a hand.
as long as it's not aces and eights, I'll be happy. uh, Bradford pear tree in your front yard is horrendous for the pollen. Yes. Stinks to high hell and after the storms. No, no, no. Cap, I know exactly what Bradford pear trees smell like, and it's usually a bordello on payday. And if you don't know that smell, you've never encountered a Bradford pear. And believe me, I used to drive past the state and county supported bordellos that were established about the same time as the University of Georgia. Every day for years at a time. And they didn't have no bad prepares, but that was the smell. So, yes, it wafts not gently, but with big clumpy boots through the neighborhood. Um, when that contract ran out between the state, the county, and the bordello, um, they had to close the bordello, which really annoyed so many University of Georgia students. And the houses got torn down. The hedges and the bricks from the houses were sold as collector's items and made more than the whorehouse ever did. Oh, Lord. Uh, the property's still there. I can drive past it if I want to go and visit some apartment I used to live in a long time ago when I was a college student, or when I was in the garage band, and that was where I met my first guitar player who convinced me to pick up a bass guitar so I could play rhythm guitar parts while he was jamming out on his six string, which is why I got so well. I don't really want to say so good so fast,
Mm-hmm.
but I developed a distinct proficiency in a short period of time. Now, later on, when he pursued his future bride back up north, where they both got jobs and did lots of interesting things, and he's continued on, and she's probably got her PhD now. Um, should have been years ago. Um, I got with a bunch of other guys, just local guys, and They were about as much interested in playing as they were drinking. So that kind of spoiled me on the garage band stuff. And I set it aside for a while, and then I had to sell most of my musical instruments and amplifiers and whatnot in order to keep my wife at that time from selling everything while I wasn't looking. And then I actually sold my bass guitar to a guy at the factory just before he was about to retire. He gave it back. Didn't even sell it back, gave it back.
Nice.
Yes. Now I've got to have the bass and the six string rewired because the pickups squeal, the amplifier cord plugins are horrible. They're both um, almost 40-year-old guitars. I've got an acoustic bass, but the frets are so far apart. I mean, the difference between it is the bass that the electric bass I use is a Fender Music Master,
Hmm.
and it's just normal size. The acoustic bass is like the one that John Entwistle uses, and the neck goes on for like 4 light years. My arm won't stretch that far. My fingers won't stretch that far. And because of my guitarist, I'm still trying to play rhythm guitar on the bass, so I have to be able to do chords on a bass guitar, missing the top two strings of a real guitar. Uh, Now, this is a story of my life. Um, there's always something missing, but usually it's not the fun. I've always been able to find the fun. And the old adage goes, fun is where you make it. Just like home is where you make it.
Hmm.
Um, you can move around the country as if you were a military brat, or move around the world in the same manner. And home is where you make home. Um, you don't have to put down permanent roots, but the temporary ones are quite serviceable until you have to uproot again and go someplace else. I spent a lot of time renting different properties before I bought this house. Um, I spent a lot of time on the family farm thinking, I got to get out of this place. It's just too much work. And now I want to go back. I really do. Um, it- Thankfully, family farm is 3 miles that away, which is uh, northwest, according to uh, the weather rain here. Um, Mom's still got the farm. My little brother's got a bit of it back in the far corner. Um, I think my brother and my sister want to turn a large part of the 68 acres into McMansions for retirement money. Um, not entirely happy with that. I want to know what mom wants before I jump in and go, hey, this is a good idea, or hey, this is a horrible idea, even though I have absolutely no say. It's mom's property.
Mm-hmm.
Dad, God rest your soul, would not have let anybody build a house on our property. Um, would not have even consented to using it for retirement money. It was meant to be a working farm or my brother, my sister, and my inheritance. I am of a mind to just say, look, y'all do what you want with the old farm. Let me have the original 12 acres where mom's house is. I know that's not exactly a third, and I don't care. And I don't really want income from your McMansions.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to keep the family home in the family as long as I live. It's a simple desire. It may not be logical to a lot of people. Um, having had to move around so much, I realize the the joy of having a home base,
Mm-hmm.
someplace that no matter what happens in your life, if you go there, they welcome you in because it's home. No matter how bad you screw up, you go home and it's always home. Nobody judges. Nobody tells you, Will, you should have done this, you should have done that. It's just you went off out into the world, you tried to make your way. Things might not have worked out the way you wanted them to, but you tried, you worked your ass off, and you're going to try again. You're not going to give up. You're never going to give up. There's no reason to give up. The more times you fail at something, the better you get at actually getting it. The closer you get to actually succeeding,
Mm-hmm.
the more experience you get, the less chances you have of somebody taking advantage of you and taking everything away because you weren't looking at the right place at the right time. Uh, you got to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. And sometimes you just have to sit back and sip on a cup of hot tea
Mm-hmm.
and enjoy a slice of some homemade cake that your mama done slaved over for hours, knowing you were coming over right then. Uh, Joe Dog, what are you?
Shouldn't he be in bed?
I don't think bed is Joe Dog's final destination. Uh, if he's not sleeping, he should be in here. Naturally, Joe Dog, you had to check the phone while you're down the hall to make sure that I'm not sitting here asleep with Joe Bachman going, I don't have ops. I don't know how to end the show.
I know exactly how it ended. I just start spam messaging the group text going, "Hey, somebody wake up."
Actually, no, just let it run. Hell, I'll be so ashamed I'll have to download it and edit the last 16 hours of it out. And uh, I've done it before. Um,
Oh,
Usually not when someone was here to have a conversation with.
it's not very often you fall asleep. I will say that.
Brother, thou hast said a mouthful. Sometimes I get my best sleep on camera. It's not that often anymore. I have retired. Um, Sleeping till 2 in the afternoon is not highly recommended if you want to get anything done, but it does make for an easier late night talk show experience. Mm.
Oh,
Jesse James does make some damn good bourbon. Um, I don't know which company actually puts the brand out, but I will look and see sometime. Not tonight. That would be another long trip down the hallway, and mm, yeah, it does go. It does go good with Canada Dry. Um, haven't tried mixing it in the glass. It just bourbon chaser, bourbon chaser. Um, Not breakfast, not supper, not dinner, but beer
mm.
anytime. And Lindsay's going to wonder, is he going to come to bed before I go to work or go to church tomorrow? I'm going, honey, if it were up to me, we probably would have taken your car down to the car wash and I would have washed all the pollen off of it in the middle, which in the middle of the night it would have got recovered anyway. But yeah, we're both going to have to take truck and car down there. Um, give them a good quick bath, which is still it's one of those car washes where you just go up and wave your card, and then you get 15, 20 minutes of whatever kind of pressurized water you want, whether it's soapy or waxy or
Mm.
steamy or whatever. Uh, all we really do, all we really need to do is rinse the pollen off and then give it a good quick wax and drive it back home. Both vehicles.
Nothing like a good wax job.
Mm.
Keep everything nice and smooth.
Wax on, wax off. Never mind that screaming sound in the middle. Yes, I have seen Mother Brown's voice. Don't even come at me. It's a good thing it's not the green room. I'm started to share an anecdote about something that nobody needs to know.
Oh.
And it didn't involve wax, but
I only had waxing done once, and it was to my unibrow. There was a hairstylist I used to go see, and every time she go, one of these days I'm gonna shave that, I'm gonna wax that off you. I said, no, you're not. Something about this little tuft of hair in between the two eyebrows just drove her nuts. And I stopped there the one day, and she was busy. She already had someone in the chair, and I think like one or two others that were waiting for her. And I needed a haircut desperately, so I'm like, that's screwed. I'll just, go to this other person. And I'm leaned back in the, got my head back in the sink. She's washing my hair. And all of a sudden, I feel something really warm right through here. And I open my eyes, and there's Tiffany standing over me going, I told you I'd be able to wax that fucker. She goes, the wax is on. You might as well let it happen. Fuck. All right, let's do this.
if it hurts, I'm going to choke your ass to death.
She might have been into that.
Not to death part, but uh, mm, I have been threatened with similar. And then I pointed out, excuse me, I have this little razor, little teeny tiny thing, and I can do that myself. Thank you. Um, I'm not paying you to do it. I will never, if you do it without my permission, I will not pay the bill.
Yeah, she didn't charge me for the wax that day.
Of course not. She was getting off.
Yeah, she was.
And not in the leaving, clocking out and leaving work sort of way. Um, mm, there's a reason I leave that in the kitchen. It's too good. If I had it back here, whoa, um, I could not be responsible for my actions. Well, to be honest, I can't be responsible for my actions any damn way. I am me. Um, although I'm a perfectly respectable gentleman um, most of the time.
I
We
am
all
most days.
we all have our weaknesses. Um, I will continually make inappropriate suggestions to my wife, who ignores them properly. Uh, I have had inappropriate suggestions made to me, which I have, because I want to keep my wife, either ignored or acknowledged and apologized why I can't carry anything any further. And then my wife went and gave hunting permits to friends. And I'm going, honey, I thought we weren't poly. At least
So
she has
you
good
thought.
taste. Meanwhile, I have to keep saying no to women I would be delighted to have adult relationships with, but that's on me. It just wouldn't feel right to me. I can't. I'm not built that way. I've never liked um, one night stands. Back even when I was in college, I never liked that. It was just there's something missing, and it's just there's a spiritual connection that you get with someone that you are married to.
Hmm.
And not to put down anybody that is in open relationships or poly relationships whatsoever. I'm just not built that way. Um, Call me old fashioned if you will. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Somebody ever calls me late for dinner, they got some explaining to do.
Lindsay, Lindsay's going, I'll put your dinner in the microwave so you can eat it when you're damn good and ready.
Oh,
It's only been 20 years and she's finally figured out the magic words. Uh,
Nick's not here, so I can. I don't feel bad for saying this, but I got some crab ragoons upstairs still. Those sound really good right now.
mm, that orange chicken stir fry that Lindsay did, and I still don't know if it was chicken or pork stir fry that she did. I think it was a combination of the two, pork stir fry and then the orange chicken. I'm going, oh, what did I do to deserve this amount of absolute pleasure? I'm feeling like Tim Curry in a rock opera here. Um, I could overperform and probably sing. I definitely could not do a dance number because rum and bourbon has been invoked earlier tonight. But good Lord, my wife can cook.
Hmm.
Oh, and
Yeah.
she's damn good at snuggling too. Um, I like that. I really like that. Of course, the dog keeps trying to keep me away from her or her away from me. We can't figure out which. Unfortunately, I'm the one that always gets pushed out of the bed by the dog. So you figure it out. I don't know. Um, and the dog comes back here when I've got a plate, and I go, "You're kidding, right? You want me to share my food that Mama cooked with you when I know you get fed special food because you're a fat little girl, dog." Oh God, the vet is so worried about her weight, which it's understandable. Her breed is prone to weak hips when overweight. So we have to watch her diet, but that's like trying to control a Tasmanian devil. It don't work too well. How many Daffy Ducks do I have to sacrifice to this thing before it's satisfied? Um, no, no. We try and keep her on a balanced diet, although the food is damned expensive.
Mm.
Yeah, well, if it'll keep her with us, it's worth it. Uh, but we could treat her like any ordinary dog, and she could be as big as a barrel and the size of a deer, which she's already the size of a deer. And a deer come up in the yard, and they go, "What are you doing there? And where's your antlers?" And she's going, "Oh, can we play? I've got a basketball." And deer going, "I think there's a language barrier here."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's. I've been outside. I've watched it. I mean, I've been outside. I've sat down, and hummingbirds have come down and gone, "Dude, you okay? You're sitting down. You're not mowing the yard." I'm going, "I'm tired of mowing the yard. Every time I mow the yard, it grows back." And they're just looking at me going, in hummingbird speak, "That's what yards do, you idiot."
Mm-hmm.
And and I've actually had one land on my hand and just sit there and look at me, knowing the hummingbird feeders are over there, hanging off of the spare washing line, and I'm just going, "Oh, this is a real dad moment right here. This is something my dad would have done. He would know how to cope." I just sit there and I go, "Well, time to radiate as much calm and goodwill as my pheromones can produce."
Mm-hmm.
And 5 minutes later, damn thing lifts on my finger, zips over to the feeder, and never see that particular one again, because as fast as their metabolism is, I don't believe they live very long.
Yeah, I don't know how long they do live.
I think maybe 4 or 5 years is the limit. Because they're just going so fast all the time.
Yeah.
They burn themselves out. It's nice to cough over something that doesn't have alcohol in it. Thank you, Canada Dry. What's it? Oh, we're at 2 hours.
Oh
We
wow.
got 8 minutes left. Thank you for being here with me, Joe. Thank you for
Not a problem.
covering for me when I had to run down the hall or investigate strange noises in the rest of the house.
Not a
Mm.
problem at all.
And thank you very much for updating my NDCD um, catalog to include the newest book. Um, yes, people. Started to say displaced detective. No, that's not right. Disposable Man is out in ebook and paperback. $3.99 for the ebook, $14.99 for the paperback. If you want me to autograph it, go ahead and get the paperback. Please do. Read it and leave a review. Ebook, same thing. Please do read it and leave a review. Reviews help enormously. And I'm not talking about the Amazon algorithm. I'm talking about whether or not people actually get to notice anything. Oh, and you remember last night when I was 600 and something in crime and mystery science fiction?
Yeah.
It is now 174th place in crime and mystery science fiction.
Nice.
It's number 819 in military thrillers, and it is 1141 in espionage thrillers in the Kindle store.
Excellent.
I have never had ratings that high before in my life. Thank you, everyone. Please, thank you. Um,
So is my camera a black screen on your screen also, or is it just a black screen
no,
on mine?
I see you are not moving, but I see the um, green screen background of
Okay.
the standard living room.
Yeah, so my camera just decided to quit communicating with StreamYard. Awesome.
Yeah,
That
well,
sounds about right.
we got 5 minutes, 4 minutes left in this projected 2 hour show. We could go on for a long time, but then Joe's tired. I'm tired. I've got a lot of stuff to do. I've got a lot of MTV videos. Or MTV. I've got a lot of YouTube videos to catch up on. Um, just like my wife's soap operas, I have YouTube videos that I have to catch up on just to make sure that my boating friends in England are still all right. And over
Yeah.
here on this side of the pond are still all right. And the weather things too. But
Yeah, I got to fight a cat for my spot in bed, and tomorrow's grocery shopping day after breakfast, so.
Yeah, I don't know what Lindsay wants us to get done after she gets home from church. But yes, I have firewood to collect so that it will be easier for the tree surgeon to come over and get rid of those 2 pine trees that we are worried about falling on our house or the neighbor's house. Um, I don't know how much that's going to cost, but it'll be a whole lot less than what I have to pay in insurance premiums if the damn things actually crushed my neighbor's house or
Yeah.
crushed my house. So I've been worried about these. Well, I've been worried about one of these for years. The other one I thought was all right, but it's looking kind of iffy. It's a 400-year-old pine tree.
Well, if you need help taking them down, there's a local beaver I'd be more than willing to ship. Not the green room, Daniel.
No, I was thinking about it very, very seriously and going, if I turn this motherfucker loose in this neighborhood, that would constitute a war crime right there.
Check with Canada first. It may not be, especially if it's the first time.
I tell you what, ship it to Zach and let him figure out what to do with it. Oh, near. I'll be glad when we don't have to worry about these two particular big hazards. My insurance companies will be glad when we no longer have to worry about these two particular big hazards. And I've got loads more trees I need to take down that are within my ability, so I don't have to hire an arborist. But I do hope that's the right word. I'm too lazy to look it up. Tree surgeon, that's the word.
Mm-hmm.
It is a word, might not be the right word. I'm waffling. Okay. Let me go to media assets and pull up the outro. And Joe, thank you very much for being here tonight. I did not want to be alone. I really did not want to sit here and waffle on for half an hour or so and then play a couple of ads and then go away. Your company has been greatly appreciated.
It's always enjoyable being on here with you, Dan. For some reason lately, I haven't been able to stay awake as late as I used to. And that seems to just come and go.
Well, you work very hard on a billion different things at one time.
This is true.
And you still managed to put a smile on your wife's face. So you're doing something right, dude.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody knows where to find me. I've been online for so long. I'm also on IndieCD. Joe, give your IndieCD plug. And
IndieCD.org, where you can find the links to all of Dan Hollifield's books and music, including his newest book, The Disposable Man, along with many other great authors, artists, comic book creators, game designers, jewelers, photographers, videographers, and even an independent weather network.
And on that note, folks, I'm going to say good night, Joe.
Good night, sir.
Good night, Gracie. And we are going to play a couple of adverts for me because it's my freaking channel.
Yep.
And then I'm going to hit the end stream and shut it all down. But thank you for being here. Thank you for watching on the replay, which a lot of people seem to do. I don't know why, but you seem to do. And Joe, get that cat out of your place in bed and go get some sleep.
Do my best.
Good night.
Good night.
In the early days of the Korean War, an underage boy ran away from his family's farm in West Virginia to join the Army. He quickly transferred to the Air Corps and became a fighter pilot. Somehow, he became useful to several alphabet agencies, so he was recruited to help them during the Cold War. Eventually, he got tired of being a spy and tried to retire. Fate had other ideas. These are some of the early adventures of Captain Tom Darby of the U.S. Army Air Corps. From before that fateful night, he rode his motorcycle around a curve too fast on a back road in rural Georgia and accidentally began a new life entirely. Hello, I'm Dan Hollifield. I'm the senior editor and publisher of Aphelion Webzine, the world's oldest free creative writing e-zine since 1997. Since then, we have helped over 500 amateur writers learn what they needed to turn pro. www.aphelion-webzine.com and read not only what we've got going on right now, but 28 years worth of our archives of stories. Thank you very much.